we have advanced no further. So we need to look at the entire composition of it, and this is where constitutional reform impacts on both issues. It impacts on this, and it impacts on the issue that AV is talking about. Because
on that note, if I may just cut in, Martin, it is quite surprising and quite strange that whereas both parties, the main contenders, have paid lip service to the question of constitutional reform, neither party, although they are calling for fresh elections or just contemplated there will be elections shortly, neither party is sensitizing the population and seeking to educate the population as to what their proposals are for constitutional reform.
The constitutional reform that I've heard referred to by both Mr. Pandey and Mr. Manning seem very specific to their own party's requirements.
Precisely.
Exactly. Mr. Manning wants constitutional reform to deal with the EBC, and Mr. Pandey wants constitutional reform to deal with...
and that is a very myopic view.
Well, but it's interesting that quite recently there was this meeting, the Tapia House meeting, and at the end of the day, it was agreed by many people who were there that constitutional reform is actually not necessary, which was a very interesting perspective.
Well, the thing is, you see, that I think does not contemplate what is likely to happen in the event of an election. I have not seen any poll or heard of any study which tells us that, look, people, if Trinidad and Tobago goes back to the polls tomorrow, next week, next month, it's going to end up with one party having a clear majority. And when I say a clear majority, a workable majority. 1917 still doesn't cut it, okay? Because lots of the serious legislation you need require more than just a simple majority. So therefore, we need to look at the entire composition of our parliament. Is it that the 36 is a workable figure? If not, how about an odd number for starters? Okay, we can't reduce the seats because if you attempt to take away any constituency, either side will have a complaint. So you have to look at increasing the seats and having non-partisan. So these 5 extra seats I'm talking about would not be party people. You're talking about labor,
well, there is a strong argument that that cannot exist in this country, non-partisanship. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what sector of society you look at, whether it be business or labor, all seem to be tinged by a certain political affiliation.
But, Paulo, I want to come back to the question, just to wrap up the question of respect to constitutional motions. And it is this. You say that there's a perception that the constitutional motion is being abused. And in reality, that may be so. But the point about it is that we have got to look at the justice system from a consumer point of view. The citizen has a right to approach the court if he feels that he has a grievance. And if you look at it from that point of view, private law actions are abused too. People institute, your neighbor break down your fence, you go and get an injunction to prevent him from doing that. The mother is tied up in court, and so on. So the sanction really for an abuse of procedure is cost. You pay the cost.
Well, what I'm looking at is in terms of the effect that these constitutional motions have on the effectiveness of the operation of the legal system of the court.
Well, I'm glad you raised that. I'm glad you raised that because I think the time is coming now. If we are saying that our courts are overburdened, if we are saying to take constitutional motions and put them into the pipeline, as it were, and a litigant goes the route by way of constitutional motion and leapfrogs other cases in the pipeline, then I think the time has come. If we really mean to give meaning and substance to access to justice for all, the time has come for us to consider very seriously whether we ought not to have constitutional reform and have a separate constitutional court.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'd love to open the lines, get your views on these issues that we've been chatting about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We all start with a vision, but it takes insight, strategy, determination, and a strong work ethic to leap over any hurdle. We focus on the finish line to give you what you expect from us. An outstanding performance every time. First Citizens Bank, performance powered, service driven.
The 3-game series is even at 1 apiece. Apples 1-0 lead.
There's a medium of communication that is more focused on its target.
12 runs to win the game in the 3
Its distinct delivery action achieves greater reach, can generate fast-paced results, and leaves a memorable, lasting impression on its audience. It's your television, and it's programmed for results.
It's bargains galore at Rupnarayan's Home Center, Market Street, Chaguanas, and Western Main Road, St. James. Plastic chairs, 3 for $99. 900 megahertz cordless phones, $199. Vinyl, $11.99 per yard. TV video stands, $89.95. Padded metal chairs, $115. 18-inch industrial standing fans, $175. Eureka vacuums, $249.95. 100-foot garden hose, $89.95. Ryobi gas trimmers, $750. And many more unbeatable bargains. Call 665-ROOP or 662 Tile.
All imported office furniture from Sunup International, your office furniture store, where the intelligent consumer shops. Sale now on.
He's a single father trying to raise his daughter.
You are grounded. We hadn't understand it.
Hey, I said I wouldn't leave the house, but they all came to me.
You aren't going to deal with it.
How? You gonna shake me like a British nanny?
Oh, so you don't think there's going to be some changes around here, huh? Okay, so I'm going to have to treat you like my parents treated me. Get out of my sight.
Wait a minute.
Don't you eyeball me.
So
You're
you...
talking back to me.
Are you
I worked too hard.
Man, I'd be better off turning
It's the premiere of the comedy One on One, Tuesday night at 8:30 here on 6. Tuesday night, the action is on. The Mortal is back in an all-new episode.
When I deliver your head on a platter to our unholy master.
Not when you go home empty-handed. Now, Cal!
9:05 p.m. TV6 Tuesday.
Welcome back to the morning edition, where we're talking about constitutional law. And of course, we want to take some phone calls just to remind you who we're chatting with this morning. We have with us Martin George and Avery Sinanan. Let's open the phone lines, gentlemen. We have Karani on the line. Good morning.
Good morning,
yes.
Mr. Cunahan.
Good morning.
Mr. George and Mr. Sinanan. Pleasant morning to you both.
Morning to you.
Morning to you.
Question. Is there any provision in the Constitution for the President to step in when there is an abuse of power by the main players, i.e. the Prime Minister and the opposition leader? Now, the reason why I ask that, I don't believe, in my humble view, that we need a third party. But we can do with a third party. But is there any